That doesn't look too bad. Now we're working on the back, putting siding on the back, making it all look beautiful and pretty and just finishing things up. And then we got to do some work on the front. And see, I got a list. Got a list of things to do. And that list is getting shorter. And then it gets longer, then it gets shorter again. It seems the list is a little inconsistent in its brevity or its longevity. Because there always seems to be more stuff to do. Every time, especially in renovations, you get one thing done, you realize something else needs to get done, and you make plans, and then those plans change, and you think you got it all straightened out, and then you notice something's rotten, and that's got to come out, and then you got to repair that, and then you think, wow, this looks really great, but now this looks like garbage, so I got to fix that too. And you make plans, and you think those plans are pretty solid, and then something comes up and changes those plans. The truth is, our plans are pretty much a best guess of what we think we can do. Someone once said, the best laid plans never last the first engagement, which means, I guess it's a military thing, and you can make all these plans, but as soon as the fog of war hits, boom, anything can happen. And you see these things that are going on in the world today, and people say, oh, I'm going to fix this. And this is what we're going to do. And they get so far and they think they've got something accomplished, and then it all falls apart. I had a conversation with Brody this morning, and I was talking about God and how we have a tendency to expect God to follow our plans. We not only make plans for ourselves, but we make plans for God, and we say, God, this is your role, this is your part, this is what we want you to do. But see, God's plans that he makes for us are for our best, because he doesn't just know what we think needs to be done. He knows what really needs to be done. And not just for the moment, but for eternity. So God makes plans that are going to teach us and that are going to grow us. And as we go along and we start following God's plans, we realize that there was a whole bunch of garbage that needs to be fixed that we weren't following his plan, we might have missed. There's a whole lot of issues in our life that need to be dealt with. There's sin, which is missing the mark. It's going in the wrong direction. And we think, this makes sense, and I'm going to do this. And then we start doing it, and then we find that God had something better in mind. But we never really would have discovered it if we had followed our plans. Now, I'm not saying don't make plans. Now, don't get me wrong. I said, but we need to be willing and open to let our plans be adjusted and changed as God shows us the next step. I've known some people and had people in my life that really couldn't handle it when that happened. And I'd be walking in a certain direction, and God would get me to a certain place, and he would say, okay, I need to get you here so you could go there. Now, that wasn't the direction that I was heading in the first place, and make adjustments. And a lot of people would say, oh, Tim, you're being inconsistent. Well, not to be fair, there have been times in my life where I have been. But a lot of times following God's plan looks inconsistent because it doesn't line up with the plans of man. And people think, what are you doing? Why aren't you following this path? I was talking to someone just the other day, and they were talking about somebody that they knew that became an accountant and became very successful. And his parents didn't understand when he left the whole thing to go into ministry. But he said, this is where God is leading me. See, it wasn't his plan on the onset to go into ministry, but that's where God led him. Sometimes God's going to step in and he's going to say, yep, you've got far enough. Now we're going to adjust. Now we're going to move. And I'm going to finish my plan. I'm going to finish the structure in your life that I've designed. And when it's all said and done, it'll be the best house that you could ever imagine. It'll be the best life possible for you. But you got to be willing. You got to be willing to make those changes. Got to be willing to adjust on the fly as God leads, being led by the Holy Spirit. So I hope that's an encouragement today. A lot of you may be thinking, God's leading me in another direction. I don't know what to do with it. Think about it. God bless. Bye for now.